Have you ever wondered how Malcolm X, born Malcolm Little, became a prominent figure in the civil rights movement? Like many transformational stories, his journey began with a tumultuous childhood, a time marked by experiences of racism, violence, and discrimination. Born on May 19, 1925 in Omaha, Nebraska, Malcolm's life was a testament to the struggles and hardships faced by African Americans during the early 20th century. His family was a direct target of racial hatred, a grim reality that shaped his worldview from a tender age. This was the era of rampant racial discrimination, a time when the color of one's skin could determine the course of one's life. His parents, Earl and Louise Little, were not mere bystanders in this struggle. They were fervent advocates of black nationalism, deeply influenced by Marcus Garvey's Pan-African movement. Malcolm's father, Earl, was particularly active in the Universal Negro Improvement Association, Garvey's organization, which promoted the social, political, and economic freedom of black people. The Littles' household was a hub of activism, a place where ideas of black empowerment, self-reliance, and resistance against oppression were a staple. This environment had a profound impact on young Malcolm. The ideologies he was exposed to during these formative years laid the groundwork for his later activism. The seeds of resistance were sown early, and they germinated within him, shaping his vision and philosophy. But the path to becoming Malcolm X was not a straight line. It was a winding journey, marked by detours and transformations that would ultimately lead him to his destiny. The story of Malcolm X is not just about the man himself, but also about the circumstances that molded him. His early life experiences, marked by racial injustice and the influence of his parents' activism, were instrumental in shaping his path. These experiences, coupled with his unwavering commitment to the cause of racial equality, laid the foundation for his transformation into a key figure in the civil rights movement. Malcolm X's early life experiences deeply influenced his path towards activism. His conversion to Islam and his rise within the ranks of the Nation of Islam would further define his journey, but that's a story for another scene. From a troubled youth to a spiritual awakening, Malcolm X's path was far from ordinary. As a young man, Malcolm X, born Malcolm Little, was no stranger to criminal activities. His adolescence was marked by a series of petty crimes, hustling and living a life on the streets. This lifestyle eventually led to his arrest in 1946. Incarceration is a dark chapter in anyone's life, but for Malcolm, it was pivotal. It was during these years of confinement that he underwent a profound transformation. In the solitude of his cell, he began to read and educate himself, filling his mind with history, philosophy, and religion. He started questioning the society that had led him down this path and sought answers in the written word. It was here, behind bars, that he was introduced to the teachings of the Nation of Islam, a religious and political movement that advocated for black independence and self-reliance. The NOI's message resonated deeply with Malcolm. It offered a narrative of empowerment and self-determination that was a stark contrast to the life he had known. The Nation of Islam's teachings were not just religious, they were also political, advocating for black empowerment and self-defense. Malcolm was drawn to this message, and it was here that he found a sense of purpose that had been lacking in his life. He converted to Islam, changing his name from Malcolm Little to Malcolm X, a symbolic rejection of his slave name. His conversion marked a turning point in his life. He became a devoted follower of the Nation of Islam, fully embracing its teachings and ideologies. His charisma and eloquence soon caught the attention of the nation's leadership, and he quickly rose through the ranks, becoming a key figure within the organization. In the solitude of prison, Malcolm X found a new direction for his life. His time behind bars was not spent wallowing in despair, but rather, it was a period of intense self-discovery and transformation. It was a journey from being a petty criminal to a devout follower and advocate of the Nation of Islam, setting the stage for the influential leader he would become. Upon his release, Malcolm X quickly ascended the ranks of the Nation of Islam. A man of indefatigable spirit and unyielding resolve, Malcolm X wasted no time in making his mark. His charisma was undeniable, his speaking abilities extraordinary. He possessed a knack for captivating audiences, weaving a narrative of black empowerment and self-defense that resonated deeply with those who listened. His words were a call to action, a plea for recognition, a demand for respect. But more than that, they were a beacon of hope in a world often shrouded in despair. His speeches sparked a flame that ignited the spirit of a community, inspiring countless individuals to stand up and fight for their rights. Malcolm X was not just a speaker though, he was a leader, a figure of authority who commanded respect. His influence was felt far and wide within the Nation of Islam. His rise was meteoric, his impact profound. But it wasn't just his charisma or his eloquence that propelled him to prominence. It was his unwavering commitment to the cause, his uncompromising stance on black empowerment and self-defense that set him apart. His advocacy was not without controversy, of course. His views were seen as radical, his methods divisive. But to those who stood with him, who believed in his vision of a world where black people could live freely and fearlessly, Malcolm X was a beacon of hope, a symbol of resistance, a leader worth following. Malcolm X became a force to reckon with, a powerful spokesperson for the Nation of Islam. His rise to prominence marked a pivotal moment in the struggle for racial equality, forever changing the course of history. But even the strongest beliefs can evolve over time. This was true for Malcolm X. His journey was not just one of physical transformation, but also of ideological evolution. As his influence grew within the Nation of Islam, so did his disillusionment with its leadership and teachings. This culminated in a break from the organization in 1964, a turning point in his life and the civil rights movement. Malcolm X's ideological shift was profound. He began to question the separatist doctrine of the Nation of Islam, which advocated for a separate nation for Black Americans. He started to feel a growing disconnect with the organization's leadership and their methods, leading him to sever ties. But his faith remained strong. Malcolm X converted to Sunni Islam, a branch of the faith that emphasized unity and brotherhood among all Muslims, regardless of race. This conversion marked a significant shift in his approach to civil rights activism. Instead of promoting separatism, he began to advocate for unity among all oppressed peoples, regardless of their race or religion. This new perspective allowed Malcolm X to see the struggle for racial equality not just as a Black American issue, but as a global fight against oppression. He began to work towards a more inclusive vision of civil rights, one that championed the rights of all marginalized communities. With a new perspective, Malcolm X began to champion unity among all oppressed peoples. Malcolm X's reach extended far beyond the United States. His quest for justice and equality transcended borders, his voice echoing across oceans. As he journeyed through Africa and the Middle East, his worldview shifted. He saw racial injustice and colonialism not as isolated issues, but as intertwined struggles faced by oppressed peoples worldwide. His speeches resonated with individuals across the globe, his words painting a vivid picture of the struggles faced by African Americans. He championed causes beyond his homeland, advocating for the downtrodden and oppressed, wherever they were. His fiery rhetoric, laced with undeniable truths, was a clarion call for justice that was heard far and wide. But on February 21, 1965, his voice was silenced. Malcolm X was assassinated while delivering a speech in New York City. This tragic event sent shockwaves through the civil rights movement. His untimely death was a profound loss, not just for those who knew him but for the millions inspired by his words and actions. His assassination marked a turning point in the struggle for racial equality. It underscored the dangers faced by those who dared to speak out against injustice, and it galvanized a new generation of activists determined to carry on his work. Malcolm X's life was brutally cut short, but his voice continues to reverberate. His message of resilience and resistance of justice and equality echoes through the ages, a testament to his enduring impact on the world. Malcolm X's legacy is enduring and transformative. A beacon of hope and a symbol of strength, Malcolm X's influence remains as potent today as it was during the peak of his activism. His commitment to Black liberation, human rights and self-determination marked him as a fearless advocate in a world fraught with racial inequality and social injustice. At the heart of his legacy, his autobiography, co-written with Alex Haley, stands as a seminal work in African American literature. This powerful narrative not only encapsulates Malcolm X's personal journey from despair to enlightenment, but also provides a profound commentary on the racial and social dynamics of mid-20th century America. It continues to be a source of inspiration, echoing a message of resilience, empowerment, and transformation. But the influence of Malcolm X extends far beyond the pages of his autobiography. His uncompromising stance on Black empowerment and self-defense challenged the status quo and sparked a radical shift in the civil rights movement. His words, his actions, and his indomitable spirit have left an indelible mark on the tapestry of history,